Welcome back to Crypto Front. This is the front line where we are fighting together side by side for financial freedom. And today, actually, I bring you fantastic news. If you have been watching some of my videos over the last few weeks, we have been talking about one specific thing, right? We have been saying time and again that, look, the whole bull market for Jasmy is usually just made on this 50 daily moving average, and I've got some fantastic news in the sense that, look, we just got supported right there. There was a little bit of a scary moment on Saturday, but other than that, I remember I was giving a reply to one of the guys here on the channel and saying that, look, I think we should wait a little bit until the US stock market is opened, and for sure you can see that the worst of the market actually turned out to be very much green today. So I mean, Jasmy itself is not really up by big numbers, but to be honest with you, I don't really think that's the most important thing right now. I just think that holding that support level here on that 50 daily moving average was something that was very much key. I don't want to go back into the past and show you what has happened then, but to summarize everything, Jasmy just pretty much does exceptionally well when it's above its 50 daily moving average. And you can see just this example here. I could also give this one right there, and the whole thesis was basically saying here that before we go for these huge breakouts, Jasmy tends to backtest that 50 daily moving average with like minus 20%, minus 28% drops, and eventually, yes, the bigger move shows up right there. So that's really great to see the price action reacting right on the dot right there. This is no coincidence. Let me just tell you that with 100% certainty right there. So the hope obviously is that we don't continue going down here, but what I would say is that I'm not going to be surprised if you see we have one green candle that actually goes on to erase this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 candles like all at once, right? Because when bottoms are being formed, the market makers are trying all their best to eliminate the people who would have sold in panic, right? Because what usually happens is that people tend to panic sell in chaotic times like this one. I mean, if you remember, just last Friday, Trump was firing the Bureau of Labor and Statistics guy. At the same time, he was sending 2 submarines with nuclear capabilities to Russia. And then, of course, on top of that, there was this whole thing about the whole GDP. Basically, every headline out there was very much negative, and I'm very sure that some people would panic sell in a moment like these ones. But as I've been saying with Patreon members especially, that look, these bottoms are made in times of chaos. So that's really, really great. But I don't want to dwell on this one actually today. I want to show you a specific pattern that has shown up for Jasmy time and again. It has actually turned out to be just great. So I was posting about this earlier yesterday, saying that, look, I don't want to be jinxing this whole thing, but we have a bullish, pattern that is just formed there, which is a falling wedge. And we also had like a bullish divergence on the RSI. Now, obviously, this was on a 1 hourly time frame. So, the confidence right there is not all that great. However, I think now even on a daily time frame, we have got a nice breakout. So even if like today's candle closes right here, that's so bullish because number one, we are being supported right here on the 50 daily moving average. On top of that, we've got a bullish wedge, which I'll explain in a few moments how this actually is very much significant here for Jasmy. So just going back in the past, I mean, you can see that we had one recently, which is this one, and it turned out to be great actually, because look at the breakout. You were seeing right around like a 70% pump right there for Jasmy. This was also another one, and you can see about a 37%. You can also go back to this one here and realize that this one actually was much more bullish, like it won 30 something percent. That's also good. Then we also had this one right here, which was right around like a 140%. Then another one, and this was one of the biggest ones. Then there's this one, which can also result in great price action over 100%. And I think we can also lastly refer to this one, which was also good. So I mean, technically speaking, you would be anticipating that at least a minimum of like 2.2 cents can be hit for Jasmy right there. Now that's not like a really big price target, right? But I think it has got a very important effect on what eventually happens with the price set, because I mean, take a look at it. I mean, if you take a step back, you realize that there has been a resistance right here, and it has rejected the price 2 times already. So you see, first rejection, second rejection, and of course it was support before the price eventually capitulated here. So now what is happening is, of course, that has shown some bullish signs. People are not paying attention to this because maybe they're too tired of waiting for a very long time. I understand that, but I'm not, that kind of a guy who easily gives up on things. But what I'm seeing here for Jasmy is that, look, there's this low, you've got a higher low, then you've got another higher low here, then you already have another higher low if this thing is to hold here. So just right here, the trend is already shifting. And I was saying that 2.2 cents as a resistance is very important, because I believe that the price has got a chance to go ahead and break it one more time, back test it as a support, and then off and away we are going. So there is one rule that is kind of overlooked in technical analysis, in which we say that the more you hit on a resistance or a support level, that's actually the more likely you're going to be able to break this whole thing. So this actually looks like a perfect setup to me. And I know Jasmy is not always a leader, right? People tend to forget that, because your eyes will be focused on other things like meme coins, or maybe bigger market caps moving. But one thing that I know about Jasmy is that when it eventually moves, it literally leaves everybody in the dust, right? There's no chance to get in right there. So this is why I'm kind of optimistic, not kind of optimistic, actually very optimistic as we speak at the moment. One thing that really has me excited is specifically that 50 daily moving average. Of course, yes, between now and the few next days, right, we can have a little bit of a pullback, whatever the case may be. That is not going to be concerning me at all. I think my concern has just been that we confirmed that one is support, the 50 daily moving average, and of course we're looking for higher price targets. Now you may be asking how high I'm anticipating this whole Jasmy price to go with a setup like this one. I think that is going to be very much fair if we take this reference of the 6 cent level that we reached back, I think it was in December 2024, and to the very bottom that we set around April. Then here, looking for a full Fibonacci extension level, that is right around 23 cents. It's already one of my major price targets here for Jasmy. And I also have at best somewhere around 32 cents here. So I'm really waiting for this thing to wrap up whatever it's doing. I mean, I'm not really like in a big hurry, because I know that, these things can actually happen very fast. So I think for now, the biggest takeaway is that we have had support exactly where we wanted the support to be. And then if we look at other things like, the overall Bitcoin dominance, it's looking like it's very much bearish, right? And this is very, very good for altcoins, especially for Jasmy. Why? Because Jasmy has already started building a bottom here for BTC. If you remember, the last 20x1 that we had here on Jasmy actually started around this level as well. So we are back at those levels, and it's looking safe here for Jasmy. I think eventually Jasmy starts rising from this bottom and goes on to hit like, key resistance levels as we look to get to that, 9 cents, 23 cents. Then of course, if, at best somewhere around 32 cents here for Jasmy. I think that was the whole analysis, quite a long video, but I had to pour my heart out to you, right? But of course, remember guys, you do not be discouraged, but like minus 5%, minus 8% when you see tomorrow, the trend here has shifted, especially when we take a look at, the Bitcoin dominance, the BTC chart versus the Jasmy chart, and taking a look at where exactly the support came in, exactly where we wanted it on that 50 daily moving average. So I'm quite pumped. And we also don't have to forget the falling wedge patterns that we have seen time and again here for Jasmy. I think it has happened like 7 times in the past, and every single time that this has happened, at least on the major time frames, has been a major success. So the likelihood is that Jasmy goes on to pull off that 2.2 cents right there. We begin building a base from there, and that's exactly where I'm standing at the moment. I want to thank you so much for watching the video. If you could, please delicately tap the like button, share the video with your friends and family. If you want to be seeing more of this content time and again, because I make these regular updates here on Jasmy, subscribe to the channel, and then of course I'll see you on the next one. Take good care of yourselves. Bye bye.